Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I would like to talk to you about the TD sequential set of indicators, the arrow and the scanner indicators. This is originally based on Demark's TD sequential and TD combo strategies, but this indicator, it mostly has features for TD sequential. It was originally sent to me by Scotty, and you can see his original idea in this right here. So this is the original idea, and based on this we have this set of indicators. But before I talk about this, let me just quickly go over the TD sequential strategy, and I'll place all of these links in the description box below. So right here on this website there are some very good examples of how the TD sequential works. So there are basically three components to TD sequential. The first one we have is the price flip. It is when a trend looks like it is changing. The next thing that we have is setup. Setup is where the trend is ongoing, and countdown is where the trend starts to consolidate. And after that, after the countdown is finished, that's when a reversal happens. So this is a reversal based strategy. And in my indicator, I have kept everything as optional. The price flip is optional, the setup number of bars is optional, and also the countdown number of bars, that is also optional. And there are two more checks that it performs. While a setup is ongoing, it will look for an intersection, and intersection is when bars, they start to go down a little. It is to make sure that price isn't climbing up too suddenly. So it will look for an intersection during the setup, and if it doesn't find the intersection, then it will wait for a few bars. And finally, after the countdown, it will look for the countdown qualifier, and after that it will give you the down signal. So you can just go over this post to read in detail about each of these individual elements. And right here where the setup starts, that is the TDST support. So my indicator, it also has a check to make sure that price doesn't fall down too quickly and doesn't cross the TDST support before the countdown actually happens. And the way these checks work, for the price flip, it will look for the candle close of one bar back, and it will make sure that the candle close is lower than the candle close 4 bars earlier. And for the next bar, it will look for the candle close, and it will make sure that it happens above the candle close 4 bars earlier. So that signifies that the price has flipped. And to find the TD setup, it will look for each candle, and each candle close should be higher than the candle close 4 bars earlier. And for countdown, the same way, the candle close should be higher than the candle low 2 bars earlier. And all of these are variables. You can change the in-between bars, you can change the number of setup bars and countdown bars. And TD setup, it needs to be sequential. All of these 9 bars, they have to be sequential, whereas TD countdown, this doesn't need to be sequential. There can be some breaks in between. After that, the countdown can continue once again. So that's basically how the TD setup works. And if you are using TD combo, in that case, the setup count and the countdown, they are both merged. So in my indicator, it only supports the merging of these two counts. And if you are interested in TD combo, you can read about it a little below right here. So this part explains how the TD combo, and Demark has several other types of checks for TD camouflage, TD clop. All of these are not supported by my indicator, but you can still read about these right here. And based on this strategy, we have an arrows indicator which will show you the details of when a TD setup has happened and when a countdown has happened, and if in case it breaks, then it will explain exactly why that break took place. So in my post I have detailed description about what each of these symbols mean, and this is the best kind of setup. And right here, as you can see, this orange box, it indicates when the setup has started right after a price flip. So right here we have the S1, S2, S3 and so on up till S9. The countdown can start as early as the 9th bar of the setup. So right here we have the C1 countdown on S9, and after that C1 continues till we get C13, and that's when we get this pi signal. So this is the best kind of signal when the setup drop is significant and countdown, during the countdown price has started to range and price hasn't continued falling. So that's when you can trade the buy, and always keep stop loss very close and take profit at least 2 to 3 times that of your stop loss. I'll explain with some examples on how exactly you can make these trades. Like if you go to the bottom of this post, you'll see another link where I have example screenshots on how you can trade different kinds of signals and which signals to avoid. So basically, do not trade immediately after the arrow. The arrow only signifies that the TD setup and the TD countdown, they have finished, but it does not mean to buy or sell immediately. So as you can see right here, this is how much the setup had climbed, and this is the countdown. So the countdown has kept climbing, but it has found a very nice resistance right here. So once the sell arrow happens, after that I would usually wait for a few more bars, and if I get a strong downwards bar, like a red high volume, like this kind of high volume bar downwards, then that would be a good time to trade. And if I'm scalping, in that case I will usually trade at the candle close of that sell bar. But in case if I'm looking for longer term setups on higher time frames, like this is M5, but in case I'm trading H1 or something, in that case I will put a sell limit order right here, right near the ongoing resistance. That way I will get a much better profit and also a much surer signal. Let's go to the next example. Right here it's exactly the same way. This is Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. So right here it has found a very good resistance, and if we sell right here, then after that it might be possible that the price will break through this resistance and continue to go upwards, because we have these very strong high volume bullish bars, which is why I will usually wait for at least one high volume bearish bar downwards, and after that I will trade as long as price is near this resistance. Otherwise I will put a sell limit order right near this resistance. Now as you can see, this buy signal has happened over here, but over here this setup drop, it wasn't significant, and even after the setup the countdown has gone low, and after that it has found a resistance here, but it has continued going low again, which is why I will not buy right here. I will wait for at least one green high volume bullish bar, and I will only trade somewhere near this support level. And if a high volume bullish bar does not occur within the next 8 to 10 bars, in that case I will skip this signal. So this is a very nice setup, and this is also very nice countdown which has started to range right here. So once again look for a downward bearish bar. The same thing over here, it has found a nice resistance, and the setup was not that much, but it's still a good signal. So I will wait for that reddish bar. And right here the setup was small, but the countdown has been consistent. It hasn't gone too far up and we already had this reddish bar, it signifies that price will start to go downwards most likely. So I will wait for a few more bars to make sure that this is an actual resistance, and after that I will place a sell limit order right here, and I will keep a very close stop loss, and I will also sometimes use pivot points for stop loss levels, and after that I will keep take profit at least 2 to 3 times that of my stop loss level. The same thing over here, it hasn't yet found a good resistance, so I will wait for price to start finding the resistance, and then I will wait for a downward high volume bearish bar. This is a good resistance. Once again, wait for that red bar. Right here we don't have a resistance, so you basically get a good idea that the best kinds of signals are where the setup has had a nice climb, and during the countdown we have started getting a range and a bearish bar, a strong volume bar occurs somewhere near this resistance within 8 to 10 bars. So that is the best kind of signal. Like right here, during the countdown, during the later stages of countdown, we already have this red bar, which is why once this signal occurs, it is very safe to trade over here. But just in case, it is a good idea to keep a very close stop loss and a take profit somewhere near right here, at least 2 times that of the stop loss level, because the setup climb, it wasn't that high, and the countdown climb, it wasn't that high either. We only had this climb, which is why a drop would not be very significant because price has kept going up in this trend. So I'll keep a closer take profit for this one. Same way over here, I will look for a resistance first, and same way here, the setup was very short and countdown has kept climbing, which is why I will expect the price to climb up even after this downwards arrow. So I will wait for price to climb up slightly, meet a resistance and a bearish red bar. So all of these signals are for M5 time frame. So this will mostly provide me with very good quick scalping signals. Right here we have very strong countdown. So price might find a good support right here. So I will wait for a few more bars to make sure that this is a good support level. And also if I get a small bullish bar, like a green bullish bar, in that case I would be much more confident trading this signal. So that is the best way to trade this strategy, and to never trade as soon as we get this up or down arrow, but to always wait for a support or resistance level and a reversal high volume bar. And one more thing I would like to show you, that since with this strategy we need to wait for a couple of bars and we need to manually check the chart before trading a particular signal, I usually like to use Telegram for this. I have a free Telegram expert advisor on my website. I'll share the link and you can check it out. So with that Telegram EA, I get all of these signals along with a screenshot in my Telegram, something like this. So this makes it very easy for me to just take a quick look at a particular signal. Like right here, if I saw this, I can see that it is on M30 time frame. The setup is very short and countdown has still continued climbing, which is why I will know that for this particular time frame I need to wait for a few more bars. And over here, suppose if I see a signal like this, then I will know that the setup right here and the countdown is right here, and the price has been ranging for quite some time and this hasn't climbed at all. So for a signal like this, I will most likely ignore it. And this is the sell signal is also not near any pivot points. So this signal I will ignore for sure. And next, if I have something like this, in that case, once again, I'll know that this might turn out to be a good signal because the setup climb, it was good and countdown has been consolidating. So I'll wait for that downwards red bar. I will skip this signal because even though the setup was good, during the countdown, price is acting very erratically, which is why I will not like to trade a buy signal just yet, because we have all of these very strong red downwards bar. So I will most likely ignore this signal. So as you can see, we have a very clear understanding. Just looking at the screenshot, we can easily tell that this was a good setup. The countdown has a good consolidation, and right here we are waiting for an up arrow. And right here I will most likely skip this signal, because even though the setup was good, but during countdown price has already gone up way too much and it has almost reached this TDST line, which is why I will most likely ignore this signal unless I get a very good strong buy candle. And I'll also look for a few previous bars, and I will see that price has been behaving a little strangely, so I'll just most likely skip this one. This right here, the setup was short, but the countdown has been quite good, and countdown is consolidating very well, so I might trade this if I get a good strong downwards volume bar. But I'll still like to keep a very short stop loss because the setup was very small. Right here, this is also a good one. So you can check out this Telegram EA. Just go on my website and you can just search for Telegram, and that will show you the EA. So right here, this is the page for that Telegram, and this works very well with all of my scanner dashboards. So in the scanner dashboard, you just need to set the file alerts to true, and you have to have your own Telegram channel. All of these steps are very detailed, so you can check it out. And once you have set it up, after that you will start getting screenshots inside your Telegram channel. And you can also set your Telegram channel to private in case if you only want to use it for yourself. So I have this set as a private channel, but my other channel, which is just Abiroid, this one is a public channel. I only have this one post. As and when I keep creating any of these time demos, I'll keep adding them right here on this channel. Let me go back, and you can take a look at this page to see what each of these symbols mean. In the arrows indicator, you will get plenty of these debug messages. You can turn them off if you like. If you feel the chart is too cluttered, you can just turn them off. But just take a look at what each of these symbols mean. So let me go to the scanner real quick, and after that we can take a look at some more examples. I will not be going over all the common dashboard settings, because I already have a post which describes all the Abiroid common dashboard settings. I'll just go over the settings which are specific to this particular indicator. So the scanner, it will show all of these, the ongoing bar, whether it is in setup mode, whether it is in countdown mode, and this color, this light red color, it indicates bearish, and this green color, it indicates a possible bullish signal. So countdown 15 is somewhere where price would have gone down, and after that a bullish signal is very near. But even though we have 13 bars for countdown, right here it is waiting for a countdown qualifier. I'll go over what the qualifier is. So if you get this symbol, W means waiting, and this will show the total number of bars since the countdown had first started. Now you'll note that the countdown doesn't need to be sequential, so this number will most likely be higher than the actual countdown number. And after that we have this support or resistance levels. So these are the TDST levels that I talked about earlier. A TDST level is right here where the setup starts. This will be a TDST level, and right here this is also that, where the candle first starts. Like right here we have this is the S1 bar, and the S1 bar had started right here. So in the scanner you will see that support and resistance levels. And finally we have this V. It means that the ongoing current bar has a strong volume bar currently. So a red V, it indicates a bearish strong volume bar, and a green V, it will indicate a strong volume bullish bar, like right here. And this star, it means that the setup S9 has been perfected, and while S9 is going on, we also get a countdown at that same bar. So you will see that S9 C1, and the star indicates that the setup has been perfected. So I'll show you what perfected means and what the countdown qualifier means. I'll go back to the page. So let's go. Right here I have all the free downloads that I used in the template, so you can check this out. Right here, this the explained section, it will show you what exactly the price flip means, the setup phase, and setup perfected. So a perfect setup will have that the low of bars 8 and 9. For buy setup, these should be lower or equal to the low of bars 6 and 7. In that case, the setup is considered as perfected. And for sell setup, in that case, price is going higher, and after that, once we get the arrow, we get a sell signal. So for sell setup, the high of bars 8 and 9 should be higher or equal to the bars 6 and 7. In that case, the sell setup would be perfected. And next we have the intersection. In that case, sometimes if price is falling too fast, in that case, even after the signal, price might continue to go down, which is why after the setup, it is a good idea to look for intersection. And intersection means that suppose a buy setup is ongoing, means that price is falling down. In that case, for just a few bars, like on bar 8 and bar 9, price should slightly start to consolidate a little bit, maybe even go higher. So high of 8 or 9 should be more than the low 3 bars earlier. In that case, it is considered an intersection. If you have this check set to true, and if an intersection has not happened, in that case it will wait for a given number of bars. You can set that in the settings. So setup phase is the momentum phase. So for a buy setup, price will currently go down, and during the countdown phase, that downwards trend, it will start consolidating. It will start forming a range during the countdown phase, and after that we get the buy signal. So the countdown qualifier is basically for buy, the low of bar 13, it should be lower than the close of bar 8. And in my indicator, I also have an option where you can, instead of checking the low of bar with the close of bar, you can check the close of bar 13 with the close of bar 8. That will give you slightly more signals. In case if you are scalping, I would suggest that you compare close with close. The TD sequential original strategy, it has low, so you can keep it as it is. So you can set a maximum number of countdown bars. Like if you have 40 bars, so within 40 bars, the countdown should complete, and the countdown should also have a qualifier. And in case if it doesn't, then it will wait for those number of bars. But if it hits this max countdown bars, in that case, the signal that will be cancelled, that will be skipped. Here is a very good video by Demark. This explains exactly what the intersection actually is. There is a whole series of videos about TD sequential, so you can check them out. They are by Demark. And finally, we have all the common dashboard settings. You can find them on this link. So in this video, I'll only talk about these particular settings. So we have already talked about the setup bars and the countdown bars. You can set that number right here. This is the in between bars. So 4 is, it will check for the candle close with the candle close 4 bars earlier for setup, and countdown it will check 2 bars earlier, and this is intersection. This is 3 by default, and intersection should happen after at least 8 setup bars. So on the 8th bar or the 9th bar, that is somewhere where the intersection should happen. That is somewhere where the intersection should happen. And these are all the optional features. Whether you want to check for price flip before the setup starts, if you keep this to false, in that case it will give you a lot more signals. And if you want to check if setup is perfected, for scalping, I would suggest that you keep this to false. Also the countdown qualifier. In that case, if you are, for example, scalping on M5, then you will get quicker signals. And if you want to ignore certain signals, if TDST has already been crossed, I would suggest that you leave this to true. And wait for setup intersection. You can also leave that to true if you like. And this is the maximum number of wait bars for intersection after the setup ends. So keep this to a very low amount. And in case if it doesn't meet an intersection, in that case it will skip the signal if it doesn't happen within 2 bars. And setup bars and countdown merge count. So earlier in the video I had talked about the TD combo strategy. If you are using that one, in that case you can set this to true, and you can change these numbers based on what you would like for the TD combo. But this indicator, it is mostly focused on the TD sequential. And next we have countdown close is compared with the previous bar's low. This is high or low, or it is compared with the previous bar's close. So right here we have a drop down. The drop down will look like something like this. Right here, countdown close compared with previous bars low or high, this one, or close. If you choose close, by default we have this, then you will get a lot more signals, because comparing with high or low, that will give you fewer countdown bars. So the signal might be delayed if you set this to high-low. And next we have stop countdown on price flip. If this is set to true, then if during the countdown a price flip happens, in that case it will ignore that signal. So once again, this is very useful if you are trading on higher time frames, but if you are scalping on M5, M15, then you can keep this to false. Minimum number of bars where it will wait after the countdown to start checking for price flip, because once the countdown starts, at the very beginning it won't check for price flip. It will wait for at least 8 countdown bars. You can set the minimal debug to true. If this is true, then it will not show you. Let me just open up anything right here. So these are all the debug messages. And if you have minimal debug set to false, then you will get a lot more symbols. Right here you will see each and every one, like right here S1, S2, and after S8, on S9 the signal has broken, and in the experts tab, if you check out the logs, then you will find exactly why a particular signal is ignored. And you will get this very small cross. This red cross means that this particular setup was not successful. So you will get a lot of these red crosses, and it will show you that this is where the setup had started, and this cross, this is where the setup has failed without reaching S9. And if you get a green tick, in that case it means that right here, this is where the setup started and the setup completed successfully, and after that this bar C1, this is where the countdown has started, and right here this is where the countdown has finished. So right after we get this sell signal, as you can see, price still looks like it is climbing up. We will wait for a few more bars for a downwards red candle, but that candle should appear somewhere near the resistance. It should not be a very long candle, and it should not be very far from this resistance level. So right here, this is where we can place the sell, the actual sell. So you can set the minimal debug to true if you feel like this page is very cluttered. In that case, it will hide these numbers S1 to S9, C1 to C13, and it will only give you the final number. The rest of these debug messages, they will show you exactly why a signal was ignored. If you don't want those, in that case you can set that, this one, show debug text. You can set this to false and it will hide everything. You will only get these lines and you will only get the signals. And if you also want to hide all the TDST lines, this one, you can set that to false as well. Then you will only get the signals. So let me just go back to the original template. This has all of these symbols because I prefer having debug messages. You can also hide all of these failed setups and countdowns. If this is true, then all of these with the red crosses, these will be hidden, the red cross marks, and you will only get these green ticks. So just go over all of these settings, and let me also just show you that on this main website page, right now this product, you have a time demo available. This will be valid for the whole of July. So this will end on 31st July, and this time demo, it will have all the features of the full version. And after July, the free demo will be replaced by a version which will only work for selected pairs. So right now this works for all pairs on all time frames, and it will also work with this free scanner. You just need to rename this file. So if you download this, and if you want it to work with the scanner, then make sure that you place this ex4 in the same directory as the scanner and just rename it. Just remove this part, time demo. If you rename it to something like this, then it will work just fine with the scanner. So you can check it out if you like, in case you want to try the demo out before you buy it. And I would urge you to once just go over each of these settings and just go over this product page, because I might keep adding more features to this indicator and the video might get a bit outdated. But this product page, this will have all the current features, and right here at the very bottom I will always put the changelog to show you exactly what each version has. So just try it out and let me know in the comments below what you think of this indicator. And in case if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. But once again, let me reiterate, do not trade directly after a buy or a sell arrow happens. Wait for a few bars, because if during the countdown you get very strong volume bars downwards, in that case it means that price will keep going down. So always wait for that green volume bar for a buy setup, and always wait for a red volume bar for a sell setup. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video, and I really hope that you enjoy using the time demo. It will be for the whole of July. So just happy trading, and I really hope you enjoy using it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a nice day.